Hi, this is actually the second time I'm going to talk about this. I did this video before and then somehow it never loaded up on DCU, on the YouTube channel, so I'm going to talk about it again. When I first done it, it was all nicely lit. I had a Superman poster behind there, had things spread out on the table. Now it's late at night, I'm tired. I just felt like I needed to get this said and done. Before I go on to the topic, I like to all the positive news on Facebook just now about the Wonder Woman movie, and I'm going to keep looking at this wee dot. I keep on looking at the screen, but it's the wee dot, so it looks like I'm looking right at you. Anyway, so Patty Jenkins came on, and she's answered a lot of. Patty Jenkins is the director of Wonder Woman, and she's mentioned the difference between Marvel and DC. Marvel likes to keep it light and entertaining, sometimes touching on a touch of grey, but DC's trying to be more sort of serious and again touch everything's in the grey. Not much of a difference then, mind you, the more you read about the article, but she did say that she came across some differences and some ways she wanted to make some of the films for Marvel, and it just wasn't the way that she wanted to do it, and that's why she was overwhelmed by going on to DC. It's on my Facebook page, the article. I think it's getting posted on 2 days from now. This is Tuesday, the sort of March. So it'll be posted at some point this week anyway. Anyway, and then there's talk about people that have seen the Wonder Woman movie. It said it's fantastic. It said, it's unlike any other DC movie. And of course, what you get with all these sort of posts are, they always talk about the negative stuff first, right? Even though it shouldn't be negative, like Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, even though they got successful, money behind it and everything else made a success that way. They were critically, bashed and then split the opinion polls from fans. They have to put that in, then they go on about the next film, and then they're trying to say it's all hinges on that. Bilkish, okay? It doesn't all hinge on this, and they're saying Wonder Woman is all muddled up. No, you've seen something that has been put together in the editing room and it's not finalised yet, so just no, don't even go there. Anyways, apart from that, I want to talk about what's close to my heart, and it's about based on DC characters. And on my page, I get this a lot. I get this, problems with characters from fans that they love and stuff, and people don't grab the concept of based. And the thing is, you've got like All-Star Superman. It's a different, totally story from the sort of lineage, the timeline of Superman comics that are out that day. Then you had the Cape Crusader Batman. Then you got the Lego Batman. Sorry about the light again, it's very late at night. Whacked. Then you got the TV series, like Gotham and Arrow and stuff like that. And one of the recommendations for you to read, Earth 1 Superman. Again, this recommendation. If you haven't read it, go and read it. How can I put this? With Batman versus Superman, they said it was sort of paying homage to the Dark Knight. It's not the Dark Knight book, but there's a lot of stuff in it that it's paying homage to, like Batman climbing onto the side of the building, thunder and lightning behind. It's paying homage to it, it's respecting the source material. And as we go back further, from everything from the Batman TV series of the 60s right through, it's not the lore. And I think if people wanted to make a movie that was based solely on a comic book, if they wanted to do the Dark Knight, then it would be a totally different film. And again, people would still have complaints about it. That people will still have things to moan about, or they didn't capture that right, they missed out page 44 or something. And so what the directors try and do of any TV show, cartoon or whatever, is they try to get their vision across, not only for them but for the majority of people that don't read comics, that know nothing about comics. And instead of trying to explain 75 years of comic stories, they've got to crunch it down to a 1.5 hour movie, or 2 hours, or hopefully 3 hours, and somehow explain stories that sort of make sense in comics but might not make sense in movies. Another thing is Harley Quinn and Joker. Now, David Ayer brought to life Harley Quinn, and they gave him this sort of storyline where Joker and Harley is kind of in love, and I like that. I do. I like that approach. It's different, it's unique, and it's what comics have been doing since day one, from Batman, Dracula, Batman, Aliens, Batman, Predator, Superman, Aliens, Red Krypton or something like that, where Superman was born in Russia and instead of America. Or you have another classic comic story called The Nail, where the truck, Jonathan Kent's, bursts its tyre by a nail, and they don't go and find Superman, and somebody else finds Superman, and it's a world without Superman, so to speak. So they take stories, dry up quite quickly, and take it from me, who's watched movies at a very young age. Movies tend to now repeat. It has the same story but told differently, like Avatar and Dances with Wolves, same story, and they try to, and same as the horror films, everything becomes predictive. So, and with comic book writers, they have to come up with fresh ideas, and probably that's the difference between Batman and Superman. Is Batman is more grounded. A lot of writers feel that they can work with that, but they're not too sure how to work with Superman, so they get Superman and they change it. Now, back to Harley Quinn and the Joker. You've got what I love about the love interest is, well, let's put it this way. In the comics, it's a mad love, and that was one of the first episodes of the cartoon series, I believe. And Joker and Harley are getting on, and it's an abusive relationship, and that's what happens in the cartoons, that's what happens in the comics, and believe it or not, that's what happens in Suicide Squad. Harley Quinn's chasing after Joker. Joker doesn't want anything to do with Harley. And not only that, Joker, he mind screws her. He tortures her in the asylum. In a cut-off scene, he slaps her, but then again, should we have slapping women on a film when everything right now is, filmmakers have got to make it acceptable, especially if Suicide Squad in America, it was like PG-13. So do you actually want to see men hitting women, especially for these characters that might not know who Harley Quinn is, and that she could take a good slap and give one back? But so it is being risky putting something on that. And with the love affair, you got the love affair from Suicide Squad. You got the Joker could, he was about to walk away. He convinced Harley to jump in acid, about to walk away as though it means nothing, then jumps back down. And that can happen in comics. That can happen in a storyline where Joker might go and rescue Harley. It may have happened in the cartoon series. Hate her one minute, love the next, like the first, love and hate. That's what jokers and psychopaths do. They change their mind quickly. So to have Joker feeling sort of that love thing that you got from it and busting it out made great storytelling. I despise anybody that can't seem to see the logic based on Christopher Reeve and his Fortress of Solitude made out of ice. Again, nothing to do with the comics I read with ice and the X thing or whatever. It was just, or the triangle. And when did you see in comics Zod using some sort of white thing from his finger to levitate a gun up? I've never seen Superman use that power. Instead of heat vision, you have a light source thing from your finger. No. Again, it's based and it's meant to be for entertainment. You've got Gotham. None of these stories existed. None of these stories about young Bruce meeting a young Alfred Pennyworth or meeting a young Alfred Pennyworth. That's what it's like. Meeting a young Penguin or meeting Poison Ivy and stuff like that. These aren't the backstories. That the guy that is playing supposedly the Joker in season 2, then it was meant to be just the idea of the Joker. Then fans loved it. Fans loved the fact that he could be Joker and wanted him to bring back. So forget the whole notion that the TV said. First of all, was that he was just the idea, the inspiration that could have inspired the real Joker. But no, fans wanted it. It was great entertainment. Let's bring him back and make this the origin of Joker. Again, I may be wrong. That might not be the origin of Joker. Nobody knows. But it's based on the character of the Joker. So why not let's all pretend that it is? So again, Christopher Nolan's Batman trilogy, the first one, Batman Begins, I felt was a wee bit closer to Batman. The other two drifted away. The Joker and The Dark Knight, that's one interpretation of the Joker. So again, it's fanatical. Earth 1 in the books, you've got again different Superman telling a different origin, telling a different makeup, and then you've got Earths in the comic books. What you've got is you've got all these infinite number of Earths, all with the different Supermans. You can see it in Flash just now, and who's to say one of these Earths don't have what we see in the comic books? Has a Batman, Superman, and the Justice League all in this other Earth 44 or whatever. It just makes great stories that we can take these characters and run with it. The origin of Gorilla Grodd was changed in The Flash. Right? I didn't want. It was based on. You also had, the different Black Canaries. You had, what else? Yeah, Kid Flash being a black man. You had Perry White being a black man. And, who cares what colour they are or that they have to be stereotyped into being white, right? And what else? You've also got Jimmy Olsen, who, as a character in comics, didn't really do anything, nor did he do anything much in the movies, right? Apart from Superman saving him and stuff. So what did he do in Batman v Superman? He made him a wee bit more macho. He made him, step in the line in the bullet for Lois Lane. It's okay, Lois, it's fine, And so that was, for me, a great wee nod to Jimmy Olsen. will I miss him in future films? No. He's not one of these characters that stand out. He's, hi, Mr. CK and all that sort of stuff. Nah, this film's based. So this is my wee rant, and I bring this up because working on this page, you hear all these people moaning about certain characters and why the character's been portrayed like that. Arrow probably was started because they couldn't do Batman at the time, and so they based, so that's why it feels like Batman. Am I complaining? No. And you could complain that Arrow and Oliver and Bruce Wayne's sort of background story or the lifestyle is quite similar. Are they the same character? Maybe. Who cares? It's, the villains that come in onto the Arrow show or DC Legends of Tomorrow, it's where everything gets mixed up. Or Flash mixes up the timeline again, creating a new universe, a new world where we can mix things up and make it more entertaining. And I am all for that. They rehashed the Batman 60 series with this cartoon version, and at the end of this film, I believe it got darker. It's a wee bit more, it's like the 60s going into modern day sort of storytelling. You've got the Lego. I mean, should Lego games be more accurate to the characters it's meant to be portrayed? No, because it's based. It's just, who else? I mean, we could go through thousands from comics to the big screen, and we have got to, as fans, what I like doing, right, is see when I'm watching something like The Flash or Arrow and something comes up and it's totally different to what I've read in comics. I love the fact that, once it's done and the people that I'm watching with love it, I go on, well, seen the comic books, that person did this, that person ain't that, and it's great because they've loved that episode, or because they've seen the cartoon movie or anything like that. You get to fill in their heads. You get to fill in the missing link that might then get them to go out and buy and investigate themselves. And I love that. I love, let's face it, 20 years ago, you used to say, I read comics, I'm a Batman, Superman fan, and at those times, you'd have just thought you were a geek, or you were just watching, kiddie stuff or whatever, but now it's in the mainstream. Now we're having TV shows and movies that are hit with audiences that don't read comics. They don't read comics, they don't know nothing, and it's a hit with them. I've got some family members that have never read a comic, I had no interest, still don't have any interest, but they love the TV show. So I find it brilliant that I can go up to them and, hold my head up and say, well, this is the real facts about them. Who is this? Is he in the comics? Did Lex Luthor do that? Again, here's another character that changed. Lex Luthor in Batman v Superman, people complain about Jesse Eisenberg. But if you look back in the past in the comics, he was a mad scientist. Then he was some sort of millionaire. He wasn't the sort of Lex Luthor wasn't under the ground and Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve. He wasn't under it looking to buy some land. So should we complain about that? No, it's based. So what Jesse Eisenberg captures is all of them. Mad scientist, millionaire, young. He even had one Lex Luthor that was it the clone or the son, and he had long hair. Then you had a Supergirl that was some sort of alien that could change into who looks like Supergirl. You know, and now you've got Supergirl with Cyborg, Superman, which is actually the Martian now. He's got the half face. You know, it's who cares, right? I'm seeing a character that I recognise, that I know on the screen. You know, it's fury. So I hope you've agreed to maybe some of the stuff, and again, I apologise. I've probably missed out half of the stuff I said the last time, but there we go. That's me without an editing equipment and anything like that, and a phone that can take just about a day to download onto the YouTube. So it's, what else can I talk about? Because I want to nail this decently. Wonder Woman's coming out, and that is one of the most complicated stories ever. Themyscira, no man, you know, don't like men and everything else. How do you tell that story to an audience? How do we tell this origin story that people are going to understand? We're going to have to introduce them to Zeus. We're going to now. Do you know what it's taken now to get this far? You know, it's taken 75 years, and as you probably know, Wonder Woman's went through a lot of changes, from the TV shows to the to movies that were nearly getting made, but they were so far off the original idea of Wonder Woman, you know, the real true origin, and now we're having a film that encapsulates everything, that has got a, yes, now we have, instead of Wonder Woman being made of clay, I don't know, as I say, I've not seen it, maybe she is made of clay, but she said it was brought to life by Zeus. True. We have got one comic that says that Wonder Woman was brought alive by, you know, what was basically her mother was made to love. I'm going to say it nice because I don't know who's watching this, you know, but Hercules steps in, gets the mother, and does a lot of naughty things, and wallop Amazon, you know, Diana's born. So that's went through changes. Every character has went through changes, but as long as you keep the core of the character the same, the heart of the character the same. And yes, again, I've said it so many times, I'll probably say it in my BVS video, which I'm going to be doing, you know, and I'll watch it and I'll talk through it. And yeah, we've had Batman, and he's killing people that's not exactly in his way. Batman, he's killing people that are in his way, but not intentionally. You know, it's like, if you throw a grenade at me, I'll knock it back, and if it lands beside you, well, you shouldn't have been there in the first place. It's not intentionally. But again, when you read so many Batman stories, there are so many different times in Batman's life where you had Batman who has killed, who has been a right jackass to his friends, Batman that's lost it mentally. So again, it's very hard to say what is the true Batman, right? For younger kids or whatever that have grown up in the comics, they think nothing can touch them mentally, physically. But as the adults know, the adults that have read these stories, that have read The Dark Knight, that have read so many other stories in Nightfall and everything, we know that Bruce Wayne can be an ass. So when we get Batman v Superman, we got a version of Batman based on those kind of books, and it was great to see for a change. We should see more different versions of Superman. We should see so many different, and we did with Man of Steel. We should see many interpretations of every character, because that's, for me, how you tell great stories. And yes, you've got to keep a sense of who they are intact, but be able to somehow expand and make the character something else, and expand it so other people will get there. And I've heard this by so many people who grew up with Christopher Reeve, and this is I never really got him, just a big blue Boy Scout, but then I watched Man of Steel, and then there was a lot more to him. You know, so again, it's based on. So please, whoever you are out there that is quick to judge TV shows, comic book shows. I mean, comics been doing it since day one, changing their characters from the outfits they wear, to the mannerisms, to the powers, to who they're married with. Comics have been doing. So TV should be doing it. You know, maybe TV has to do it because they can't get certain actors or actresses at that time to play that role in a contract. Maybe they, and same goes for the TV. So unless you see a film that's in Batman, DC character, then you know but you'll see it based, because people need to. There are too many critics out there. There are too many critics that has their own interpretation of Batman. You have yours, I have mine. I have my own interpretation of Superman. When I seen these films, I went, that's the Superman I've read about. You may have read the same stories and got something else. But again, it's based on your opinion. So I hope you've understood half of what I've been trying to say today. And I do hope you carry on listening or following me on my Facebook page, Man of Steel Fan Gives Hope. And please like, comment or share, and let's get the positive vibes out there. Thanks very much.